every single day, every single day, every single day, every single day. Illuminate my future bright, so thankful for everything. Rejuvenate in my inner light as I work hard for all I need. Open arms, embracing life and honor what you gave me.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the Jenerosity Show. I'm your host, Jennifer Evans, inspiring you to give the best of you and not what's left of you. I'm so excited for episode number 17 today. Thank you everyone for watching. We have a special guest, Mr. Carlos Padial III, and he is a visionary entrepreneur. He calls himself actually a social serial entrepreneur. And he's a father to a beautiful baby boy and a humanitarian. He has an awesome story of overcoming that led him to do the work that he does today as a co-founder and president of Lids for Encouragement. So super stoked to have him. I'm grateful we got introduced through a mutual friend, Jeremy Stroud, who I actually hosted his family on a safari trip in Africa, in Tanzania, and the Ngorongoro Crater in 2014. So we have a cool story of connecting. And Jeremy met Carlos in college. So super stoked that we just met a few months ago, and I heard his story, and I just was like, I need to have you on the show, and glad to be connected. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in today, who's listening live or watching after. And special shout out to my grandmother Coco. Oh, you gorgeous thing, don't you ever die. All right, so on every show, I like to start off, by telling you what's one of the most generous things someone's done for me this week. And so I have to give that shout out to two people, which are my father and my friend Jennifer. Had some car trouble this week, and they both helped me out. And Jennifer picked me up from my house at 6 a.m. to bring me to work one morning. So that was super special, and I feel very grateful. And it's just, it amazes me that I live in LA now, and I didn't even know I was ever going to move here. I mean, I moved here about 6 months ago, and it's crazy just the people you meet along the way on the journey that you never, you don't know, and then they become like family to you. So I'm so grateful for the community that I'm building in LA. It's such a blessing. So I want to just, invite, go into a little prayer, invite God and the Holy Spirit into this conversation today. I'm just grateful to be, a vessel, for God to use me. And I just, ask him to bless everyone that's watching the show today. In Jesus' name, amen. So again, this is the Jenerosity Show. I'm your host, Jennifer Evans. Welcome to episode number 17. With special guest Carlos Padial III. So Carlos is a visionary philanthropist, author, financial planner, single dad of a beautiful baby boy. He considers himself a social serial entrepreneur who not only wants to do a great job for his clients, but also the earth and the community. So Carlos has overcome extreme circumstances, which he's going to be sharing with us today. Actually, one of the first times he's sharing it. So I'm super honored. And he believes that with great blessings comes an even greater responsibility to give back. So he's the founder and president of Lids for Encouragement, which is a startup 501c that's based in San Diego. And the mission is to uniquely encourage homeless and others in need. In 2009, Carlos became the youngest certified professional planner in America, and he started one of the first virtual family offices in the world, Go Green Financial Group. So he's worked with hundreds of families and individuals to help them, through his socially responsible approach to financial planning. But today's really going to be focused on his humanitarian work and what he's doing to giving back, because that's really, probably why he's doing all the work, so he can give back to others. Carlos is from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, which he's going to share a little bit about that today. He graduated from LSU with a business management with a concentration in entrepreneurship. So after college, he packed up and moved to San Diego, where he's been for over 13 years. So thank you so much for joining, and I am honored to welcome Carlos to the show. Hey, Carlos.
Hello. Hey, everyone.
Thank you so much for your time today. We're excited to have you on.
I'm blessed and honored to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, tell me a little bit about your name with the third. It sounds so dignified.
Well, my grandfather told me, he said, your name is not Carlos Padial. It is Carlos Padial III. Don't get it, don't get it mixed up. So since then, I've made sure I put the third on the end of my name.
Very nice.
Yeah, my dad's name's Carlos. My grandfather's name is Carlos. There's lots of Carloses in my family.
Very nice. Well, I want to start off by asking you the first question I ask all my guests, which is, what is one of the most generous things someone's ever done for you?
So there's so many blessings and so many generous people out there. I don't think get recognized enough, but I have a special friend that basically I was in a situation where I didn't have a place to go. I didn't, know what to do. I had no money at the time, and she told me, she said, "You're not going to sleep on the street. I'm going to actually share my bedroom with you."
Wow.
And so she let me stay with her it ended up being like a little over a month. And
Wow.
we shared her room,
Wow.
And it was, I was like, how could somebody, let somebody else just come into their personal space and their personal environment, and with a smile on her face, she just said, "We're friends, and I'm not going to allow you to sleep under the stars."
Wow.
She said, "Not under my watch." I said, "Well, thank you."
Cool, because I actually had a similar situation here in LA. When I, got married and it didn't work out, unfortunately, and I was going to drive back to Arizona, and I had all my stuff in my car, but I'd always wanted to be in LA, and I felt like there's something here for me. And I had met a woman in an AA, an Alcoholics Anonymous, because, I'm in the program. So I went there here, and I'd probably, she just kept reaching out to me, and I'd only like talked to her a couple of times, and she was like, "You're coming to stay in my house. Like, at least come here and sleep for a little bit and see what happens." And so she said, "You could stay here a month for free." And so that was a blessing to me, because I realized I really want to stay in Los Angeles, and she helped me get back on my feet. So I have an angel just like you. That's beautiful.
And it's never someone that you originally expect. It's usually somebody, outside of that, of your close circle, that reaches out and is able to touch you in a way that
Yeah, for sure.
Very special.
I agree. Yeah, she also helped me out a little bit, because my parents always say, "You leave your shit laying around," and I'm like, "I do not." And I get to her house, and I guess that I do a little bit. She wasn't happy. So she kind of helped me learn to like pick up my makeup and the things that I need to. So it's kind of funny. I'm like, maybe my parents were right. So, all right. Anyway, well, thank you. That's a beautiful story. I would love to, move forward and just talk a little bit about your background, like where you're from, your education, and how you got to being one of the youngest, like, certified accountants or financial planners.
Yeah. Well, originally I was born in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and my mom's side is Venezuelan. My dad's side is Cuban. So, I've got the Hispanic blood going, and but was raised really in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And I stayed there until college, and I went to LSU, had a great time there, graduated, and then it was on to the water. I wanted to get to the West Coast, But one thing very special about Louisiana is the culture and the food, and just the overall, like, the aura that comes with Mardi Gras and that season, and how, like, incredibly special it is, and what a major event that is. In Louisiana, we get school off during Mardi Gras, but in the rest of the country,
wow,
it's just another day. So it's very cool. And in Louisiana, we have Cajun food. Okay. So authentic Louisiana Cajun food is something that's just very hard to come by. It's got a very distinct taste, and very nice and spicy and warm, and it's good food for the soul, So I took that knowledge that I learned in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, I learned how to cook in college. And so I came out to California, and I couldn't find a place that has some good Louisiana food anywhere. So there I was back in the kitchen, cooking some food. But I was fortunate when I first moved out here. I got a great job with a really brilliant financial planner. Worked with him for 4 years. In that time, I got to do retirement plans for hundreds and hundreds of families and individuals, and really learn the retirement game. And one big piece of that is the legacy that they leave, So in helping people plan for their financial future, we ask them what goals they have, what things are important. And when I went to start my own company in 2011, I said, what are the pillars that I'm going to have as the foundation of my business? What is the thing that we're going to stick to? And for me, that was, we're going to take a great job for our clients. Mm-hmm. We're going to do things for the earth, mm-hmm. as environmentally friendly and eco-friendly as we can. And we're going to give back to the community. Right. Now, I didn't know exactly how that community piece was going to play out when I first started the company.
Yeah.
But it has grown to the point now where it is at the forefront, because of what we're doing and the movement that is really in motion right now. Mm-hmm. That's the organization is just growing, mm-hmm. And
well, can you tell us a little bit about what Lids of Encouragement does?
So what Lids of Encouragement does, we have these containers, mm-hmm. and we can seal them with these lids. Okay. So when I was, when you're handing food out, you want to seal the meal. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to do something really unique and special for the people that I was helping. Okay. Yeah. My story, I was living on the top floor in the high rise in downtown overlooking Petco Park, had a beautiful west facing view of the sunset, and it was just magnificent, right? Mm-hmm. But I also had a view of a lot of people struggling, that weren't in the same place that I was, and I really didn't know how to react to them or how to respond. And I have a beautiful dog I walk every day. It's like I walk past these people. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to give.
Yeah.
So I got to thinking, and I was like, you know what? I want to do something unique and special. Mm-hmm. I want to give them something that they can't even get in a restaurant if they tried. Okay. And, talking to one of my buddies from high school, learned that he was the jambalaya champion of the world.
Ooh.
And he shared his recipe with me.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, all right, this is going to be awesome,
Yeah.
So I got a pot that cooks for 100 people, okay?
Oh.
Big cast iron pot, propane fueled, and it's just when you have a pot like that, you might as well fill it up. It's just as easy to cook for 10 as it is for 100. So we that's basically how it started. Is I wanted to do something unique and special, and jambalaya, the food that I was cooking, mm-hmm. authentic Louisiana jambalaya with all the real deal ingredients, the right way. And to make it even more special, that we were handing out, something that they couldn't even get in a restaurant, mm-hmm. is we started putting encouraging messages on the lids.
Okay, yeah. What does that say? Okay, you are loved, you matter. Oh, that's sweet.
So in my journey, I've been asking people, what would you say to make somebody's day?
Okay.
And that's basically what I ask people before they fill out a lid. And it's not an easy thing for them. It's not an easy task, because somebody at the end of the day is going to be receiving that and the message that you deliver could mean the difference of the world to them, you know? And we post all of our lids on Instagram, so you can check it out at instagram.com/lids of encouragement. And you can see all the lids that have been made and keep track as we grow. But
well,
really,
I think that's beautiful. And I want to get into more about what you guys are doing and how people can contribute. But I would love to talk about your story to really figuring out, you know, how to be able to talk to the homeless. So if you would, you know, move into that would be great.
Sure. So, like I said, I was on the top floor of the high rise. It's doing well. I had my office across the street, and things were going good. And
you were balling. You were living it up.
Something happened, you know. There was something happened in my life that was out of my control, and like it wasn't my fault that it happened, but you know, my grandfather, he ended up getting Alzheimer's. Mm-hmm. And for me, that was it was just devastating. It still is devastating, you know. And when he got sick, that's when everything started to kind of crumble for me, you know. And I ended up from having what I thought was just about everything to losing just about everything. And, you know, ended up from the top floor, not on the first floor, but on the street level floor.
So can I ask you, were you like coping with, you know, things with like drugs or alcohol or mental health?
No, it was really, the main thing was there's only so much money and time I had saved up. And when the company went, you know, took a turn for the worse, I lasted another 5 or 6 months, but then I couldn't pay the rent anymore, you know? Mm-hmm. So I had to find a place to store my things. Mm-hmm. And I checked into a hotel nearby, and that began my homeless journey, you know? And so through the time as it went by, I knew and I held fast that where I was not where I was, you know, ultimately intended to be, but it was a place that I needed to be if I really wanted to do good for the hungry and the homeless in our local community. Mm-hmm. Because the eyes that I was looking down on people, I had no clue really what the struggles were. And as a financial planner, what's the solutions? You know, how do we get out of this mess? And so as it so happens, I manifested, you know, basically, you know, losing everything and starting from scratch. Mm-hmm. And, you know, for a good 3 years, I was perpetually traveling for work, you know, didn't have a permanent residence. And, you know, I ended up standing in the line with all the others that were in need. You know, I ended up in one of the shelters. I ended up, you know, it's very humbling. Before then, I'd never taken a public transportation. Like never been on the bus. And then when you got a couple nickels, that's all you can afford.
Yeah.
You know, then I'm on the bus. And I'm like,
did it help you get grateful for like the smaller things and like what you have now?
Oh, yes. Well, I think the biggest change is before I had more of a long-term mindset about everything, and I was living in the past a lot, and, you know, trying to live in the future a little bit to motivate myself, but I really wasn't focused on the now, the here and the now today.
Yeah.
And in my journey of not having a place for 3 years, I learned how to really focus on every day. Every single day matters. And for me, I had to make a certain amount of money so that I could afford the hotel the next day and enough money to eat and get through it, you know?
So did your friends and family like know what you were doing, or were you kind of...
No, I mean, I really kind of backed into the shadows, if you will. Kind of took a step back. I wasn't really on social media anymore. I just kind of retracted, and nobody really knew what I was going through.
Embarrassed about what happened or depressed over the situation?
Sure. I mean, all those things and more, but it's hard to let the public or others know, when you're in a very vulnerable situation,
I
and
understand that, yeah.
and so, now today, looking back, I have come full circle, from having everything to losing everything to now everything, my momentum is back, and I'm firing on all cylinders, and this train is moving,
That's great. Well, I want to ask you during that time, like, how did you keep the faith? Like, were you hopeful and knew like this was just, a journey, a process that you were going to, and you knew that you were going to come out on the other end? Or like, how did you keep the hope up?
I mean, on a daily basis, I pray personally all the time. It's not a morning and night thing. I'm always blessing my food, but I pray consistently throughout the day.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew, it sucked, but I knew that in order for me to really help these people,
Mm-hmm.
I needed to firsthand experience what they were going through. Mm-hmm. And stand in the same line that they stood in, and shower in the same showers, and eat the same food, and be on the same, everything.
Mm-hmm.
And once I got that firsthand view of exactly what was going on, like everything changed, because I went from, someone that lived on the top floor, had no clue about what was going on, to, being very well aware of the resources that were out there, and, what things people could do to get out of that situation.
I think it's really powerful and wise that you could see while you were going through it that it was for a purpose. And I've been able to see that during my struggles too now in my life, but in the past, I couldn't. I think there's so many people that don't see that. They're like, why is this happening to me? And they're in worry and they're in depression, and I think that I like your message, because I think more people, if they had that attitude of like, this is an opportunity. I know I'm going through this for a reason. Like, a breakthrough is coming. This is like part of transformation. And prayer. Because I've learned that myself is like my mind races a lot. I have mental health challenges with anxiety, and I've had depression where I would always be like thinking about the future and like is not being present. And now I'm just like training my mind to not only be in gratitude, but it's like, just thank you, Lord. Thank you, God. Like always praying and focusing on God. And that's, the healthiest thing that I've ever done,
Sure.
So it's nice to hear you say that. And I'd like to know, do you continue to, pray? Is that part of your process now that you're like back in it and things are going? Or was that just something you did, while you're going through a hard time?
It's still going. I mean, I still pray every day. I bless my meal. I really try to stay in the attitude of gratitude at all times. That's really the only way to be. If you're not, then you're coming from a place of lack, and that's just it's not a good thing, So now that things have settled, and I've got a place now, and I've got a beautiful baby boy, and things are settled, I'm conscientious and very grateful for the experience that I've gone through, because now I'm able to really be in the moment, and focus on today, and not be worried about all these things that happened 25 years ago. I'm sure a lot of people watching have had some kind of traumatic experience in their, early life, and it stays with you. Mm-hmm. But once you are on that daily, like, every day matters. It's not like, oh, we're going to try to do it for the week or the month. we got to do it today. Taking action now.
Yeah. And that's all that matters, right? And I know, in the Bible and in 12-step program, it talks about there's enough, to deal with for one day, so just worry about today and leave tomorrow to me, because, we could be we need to plan, I think, and we need to take action, but we need to also, it's like a balance of like doing that and letting God lead, because it's like, God may have something in mind that is going to happen that I have no idea about. So if I obsess about planning about it, I'm just like wasting my time that I could be present today. And so that's really helped me too, even with my addictions, like drug and alcohol stuff. Like, I had a relapse and I recommitted to my sobriety, like, just recently in March. And, it's like, I'd love to smoke weed every day. Like but now I know that it doesn't serve me. And the biggest thing for my recommitment is for God, because I want to be connected to God all the time and I want to be available for others. And if I'm obsessing about what I'm going to smoke next, or I'm smoking, overeating, and passing out, I'm not going to be available for others. So my biggest thing now that I'm doing is like, you know what? If I feel like smoking, I'm just not going to smoke for today. Like maybe I'll smoke weed tomorrow. Like maybe I'll do that tomorrow, but today I'm not going to. And that really helps me. If I think about like, oh my God, I'm never going to smoke weed again, I can't do it, then that's too hard. So it's like really training my mind to like just be here today and focus on today, gratitude and prayer. So I'm very much resonate with your mindset, And
I want to add that, like, another thing that helped me get through that tough time, the toughest times, is being aware of the miracles that were happening around me. Really being tuned in and focused on somebody was generous and gave me some food, or, whatever the case was, saying like, that's a little miracle right there, Yeah. And you never know what's coming around the corner. You're one phone call away, one meeting, one signature a lot of times from completely changing everything. And you don't know what's going to come around the corner, So with that optimism, that's really what got me through, because I knew God put me there for a reason. So, it's okay that you're there, because we're learning, right? And you never know what's coming around the corner. So, between those two, it got me through. And I asked people, what would you say to make somebody's day? And what I say is ain't nothing to it but to do it.
Okay.
Nothing to it but to do it, So sign up for, if you want to like go back to school, just sign up, and then figure out all the details later, like commit to it, sign up, do it, and then know that you're going to stick it out and see it till completion, And that's what I did when I was getting my certified financial planning designation. That was a strenuous process, for sure, but it was just something I had to do. And I knew that I would not get promoted or be able to excel without that. Being as a 24-year-old wealth manager, I had to out-credential everybody else in the office just to be able to move up, So I signed up, and it was 3 nights a week while I was working 60 hours, and, I just did it. So I really encourage people that if there's a spark there, you want to take advantage and just do it,
I totally agree. And sometimes I hear people saying like, they're trying to realize if that's God's voice. How do I discern if it's God's voice? I don't want to make the wrong decision, but I love the thought where it's like, just take action. And if it's not, then God's going to redirect you,
Sure.
Just go out the best you can. And then if that's not part of it, you'll change. But if you just sit around thinking about it, then you're never going to do anything. And that used to hold me back, because I'm a recovering perfectionist too, where it's like, I wouldn't want to do something unless it's perfectly done and this and that. And it's like, procrastination is basically just like failure, because you're not even starting. So I like the attitude you have of just moving forward. So I'd like to ask you, what would you tell the audience of something that like you've learned about homeless people that, you know, might help us be more compassionate or connect with them that you didn't know before?
Well, one thing for sure is that if you see somebody on the street, it may be their first night on the street ever.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it doesn't mean that they've been there for weeks and this is the life that they're living. You know, everybody's on their own journey and has their hiccups along the way. And there was a couple nights when I had nowhere else to go, and I had, and those nights, it's like I was completely homeless, and hopeless. and you know, you gotta get through it, nothing to it but to do it. And
was there any people that you connected with during that time that like out on the street that helped you through it?
Kind of. I mean, there's definitely. At one point I had to live in a shelter with 400 beds. Okay, wow. So you have a tent, 400 beds, and it's like a temporary kind of placement deal. And while I was there, I learned a lot from people. I try to be a sponge no matter what position or situation somebody's in. I try to be learn from everyone. And one of the biggest things is, I found is this, you never know why they're there or what's the reason or how long they've been there. And that's something that I think people don't really realize, is that maybe it's just their unlucky day, and that this is not a life that they're committed to, that they want to be homeless, and they it could be circumstantial, so take it for what you will. But in the homeless community, there's a lot of mental health issues, that literally these people are unable to work, because of their mental health state. And they're put in a situation to where they have to, see what resources are available, because they can't produce for themselves, and those resources are few and far between and hard to come by, but perseverance, it took me, I was on waiting lists for years, for some things that I'm able to, enjoy now. But it's all part of the process. And if you are in that position, there is a process, and you stick to the process. And it may be, having to do things that you're not comfortable doing, or in an environment that you're not comfortable, but you just got to get it done, So leave the excuses and just go for it.
Are you talking about the organizations that are there to support homeless people, like going through their system to get resources?
Yes. So one of the biggest resources in San Diego here is we have a 211. So it's a number you can dial, and they will give you another contact or a resource or something based on your situation. You shouldn't wait until you're like totally so far gone there's no turning back. There's programs if you're losing your home or anticipate losing your place that you can get into, but you got to reach out and help, and you got to see what's available, see what's out there.
Okay, great. Well, I would love to transition, back into Lids of Encouragement, and I just want to commend you for, having the courage to share your story, and as you transition, back to rebuilding your life, how did that happen? Was there, did you go through the system that helped you do that, or how did you get back on your feet?
Well, I mean, a big piece was using the systems that are, the resources that were available to me. So in my particular case, I qualified for something called the Rapid Rehousing Program here in San Diego. And once you're admitted into that system and you're part of those resources, then they do case management with you for over a year and help you transition back into independent living.
Oh,
So that was, I mean, the resources that especially in San Diego, there are a lot of resources, but they're not gonna do it for you. You really got to seek it out, and a lot of places you got to wait in the line, or you gotta, just wait your turn. But it'll eventually it will happen. You'll find a place. You'll be able to get back on your feet. And,
Yeah, sorry, we're having a little technical. You're coming in and out, but I'm catching you that you were able to get the resources to help you, through transitional housing. But I get your point about maybe some people that have mental health issues, like, that aren't able to like follow and walk through that process, right? If they're not really in a state
Yeah.
that they're capable of doing that. So that's really awesome that you went through the whole process. And now, you're putting a big focus on Lids of Encouragement. You started doing this while you're at the top of your game, right? Living in your house, making the jambalaya, with the Lids of Encouragement. And now I bet it has such a deeper meaning to you because probably the hopelessness or, the depression that somebody feels when they're receiving it. And maybe how it uplifts them.
Yeah, I mean, a lid of encouragement is something very simple in theory, but it's something extremely powerful, and you don't know if your words are going to keep someone from jumping off that bridge or not. And that's why we post the lids to our website and on Instagram so that people could go if they need some encouragement, and they can look and see what hundreds and hundreds of people have said to lift them up, And there's so much negativity on the news. It's ridiculous. But there are a lot of good people out there as well that are helpful, that are doing good, for people, that are kind and generous, and that's not what the news is focused on, But there are some really, really good people out there, and they don't get the credit that they definitely deserve.
Mm-hmm. So moving forward, what do you have coming up with Lids of Encouragement? What are you focused on? What are you excited about?
So I'm really excited because there was a law changed. The California Retail Food Code was amended on January 1st of this year, 2019.
Okay.
And it made it to where it's easier for small charities that are doing food distribution to be able to get through all that red tape,
Okay. Great.
So they've made it easier because you can get in trouble if you're trying to feed people if you don't have the right permits and licensing and everything like that, but they passed this, so now we are able to pass out our jambalaya, and have the health code, the permits and everything. So it's really exciting to be able to do that.
Yeah, so you don't have to sneak it now. You can actually.
Yeah. So we have our next event is going to be on May 11th. It's on a Saturday afternoon. And we will be cooking a bunch of jambalaya. Now I'm located in Old Town. And so we're going to be doing it in Old Town. And for more information, definitely, shoot us an email. We'll get you the details. But we're going to start cooking, and then we're going to start disseminating all these awesome lids out into the community.
I'm excited. thank you for inviting me and Generosity Foundation to collaborate with you on that event. I'm looking forward to definitely writing some lids, distributing, but also trying that amazing jambalaya too. So
Yeah.
I hope that the volunteers get to have a little bit.
I want to introduce y'all to somebody that's been very special. Come here, buddy. Come
All
here,
right.
buddy.
Oh, at first I thought it might be your son, but I was like, I don't think you would talk to your son like that. But
no, this is my buddy Jack.
Oh, hi, Jack. He's very cute.
Yes, and he is just an angel. He's a sweetheart. He's a service dog, emotional support animal, and just he's awesome, you know. And he's been there through everything with me through my journey, and you know, pets.
Has he been with you like the whole time?
The whole time.
Oh, really?
He's 9 years old now, so for the past 8 years.
Did they let him in the shelter with you?
Yeah.
Wow. Aww.
Yeah. It was good, Bubba. But
I have a 10-year-old dog, and she's lived with me in 4 states, and she's had like 7 different dads. So yeah. I get it.
Well, I mean, when I'm walking down the street, people gravitate towards him, you know? So yeah. That's why I made him the director of first impressions for the Lids of Encouragement.
Oh, that's really cute.
Okay. He's got his little job. He's got his little business card.
Oh my gosh, that's cute. So will he be at the event on May 11th?
Yes, he will be one of the VIPs there.
Okay. For sure. Okay, beautiful. Well, if anyone wants to get a hold of you, make a donation, get involved, how can they do that? So
check out our website. It's lidsofencouragement.org. And there is all kind of resources there to sign up and make donations, and you can make a donation in kind. You can donate a vehicle. There's a lot of different things you can do, as well as volunteer your time. And you don't have to be in San Diego. There's a lot of remote volunteer activities that people can take part of as well. So it's good to know. And just follow us on Instagram. We're just look it up, Lids of Encouragement.
Yeah, would you post that on this the message board?
Yeah, I'll post it on the message board right now. But the Instagram it's really cool because it's just anytime somebody makes a lid, I take a picture of it and I post it on there. And then it's like, boom, there's your inspiration for the day. Right there in front of you. So let me get this typed in here.
I love your attitude and how positive you are. And, it's just really inspirational. If anyone's going through a hard time, I just encourage them, like you said, is to look at it as, a period of growth is something that's, making you stronger, that, there's blessings on the other side of it. And just, know
you never know what's around the corner. Yeah. You never know. For me, I don't know about you, but a lot of times it happens at the last little second. Things will just like turn around and it'll go your way, or whatever was blocking you is just like not there anymore. And so it's just hold strong to that, and recognize the blessings that you have, be grateful for the blessings that you have. And we have it good over here. There is a lot of countries in the world right now that, they don't even have food to to distribute. There's like some major issues. So
that's right. We always say it's first world problems here, right?
Yeah, first world problems. But here, if you are in this area, there are resources, and you can reach out to them, and they specialize in helping people get through it. But the people that don't really succeed are the ones that don't follow the program. So it's I just encourage people to to take the advice, to take the recommendations, and see what resources are out there. And you never know what you come up with, what you'll find.
That's great. Before we wrap up, I want to give a special shout out. I have a live audience here today in Hollywood, California. My friend Wayne Sampson. Hey, Wayne.
Hey.
Wayne has his own show as well where he highlights, celebrity news that's going on here. So I'm grateful that he decided to join us today, and your dog as well. So
yeah, huh, Jack?
Yeah.
You want to tell everybody something?
For your dog, do you talk to your dog too?
Oh, I talk to him all the time.
No, for your dog. When people come by and say, your dog is so cute, and I say, thank you.
Oh, it's gotten to the point where I get stopped all the time because he's such a lovable, cute dog. And I made him a little sign that says pet fee $1 for charity.
That's cute. You get money that way?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
We're averaging $5 a walk.
Oh, I need to try that. That's a great method.
So if they're gonna, stop me in my day and where I'm going to pet my dog and everything, then they can contribute $1 and hear about the charity.
That's amazing. I love that. Well, let's try to get our friend Jeremy Stroud to San Diego for the event with Encouragement and Generosity Foundation on May 11th. That would be awesome. If anyone wants to donate towards that event so we can get Carlos making more jambalaya, please do that. And
this is what I'm talking about. This is the stir stick for the jambalaya, okay?
Wow, okay.
The Bayou Classic. It's a real it's really cool. It's really fun, and it's all for a good cause. So if you can make it for May 11th, that'd be awesome.
Awesome. Well, what piece of encouragement would you like to give everyone before we wrap up here?
Let's see. I'm gonna pick one of the. Well, I have celebrity lids, I guess. People that are and so this gentleman, I was explaining to him my story, and he's worth about $70 million. Very, very successful person. And I got him to make a lid, and what he put on there really struck me, and I'll show you now, is that big hearts win big dreams.
All right.
And so, you got to dream big, and there is solutions out there. You can get through it, and especially if you have lids of encouragement all around you, it does that helps out a lot too. But if you're trying to give back, do something, have a big heart and do it big, do it right. So.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
That's what I got.
It was a pleasure. You're amazing. Excited about, seeing all the impact you're going to make and collaborating together. So everyone watching, thank you so much. And I encourage you to get out there and be generous.
Yes.
Bye.
Take care, everyone.